To change the future, first you have to imagine it. This is not just a prediction of what might happen, but the worst case scenario. First, we must begin with its history. There are numerous other beautiful cities spreading over history that have ended up symbols, images of war, strife, and destruction. From Second World War to the war in Iraq, huge numbers of the structure darkened and scarred over years of battling. Cities throughout the world are facing unprecedented changes, from the drought, the famine, the plagues, the wars. Temperature is rising and it's expected to continue to rise. Water supply is lowering, diseases are rising. The catastrophic floods, hurricanes, wildfires. Because of all of these factors, people are more mobile than ever, changing their location and abandoning some. But most people can't afford to live in other areas, so they stay and continue their lives there. Their living doesn't get any better as the years go by, which is evident when you compare it with the other rich areas or even the moderate areas. You will see a huge difference between them, which makes you wonder, what does the future hold for them? So, as the years go on and still these factors are continuing to grow, the people have not tried to change their ways of living to limit the pollution, or the government have not stepped in. The future doesn't look good for us, which perhaps will make this era of time when the cities died. And with this death, we will see a huge difference in some areas. The poor areas will be neglected, destroyed, and mostly abandoned, while the rich areas will be thriving with good facilities and accommodations. But still, this generation is trying to deal with all of these problems, using and developing new technology to help make our future better. As the future grows, a lot of the studies now are predicting a dystopian future for us, which is evident in a lot of futuristic movies or documentaries. They predict that either the Earth will survive somehow with all of this pollution, global warming, and wars. But there's different scenarios of how we are living. People will be divided in two: the rich, which are living in content and luxury, and the poor, which are suffering and live in a very bad architecture. There's a second scenario which the Earth is completely destroyed, so we have to live in a different planet or even a spaceship. But that doesn't mean that there's no hope. All of these predictions doesn't necessarily have to happen. We can have a future where everyone can live in a place where the buildings represent hope and a great future instead of the dark, destroyed remainings of what we know. So we have to contribute into making our future better. So what does the future hold for us? So in the end, is this a future you want for our children? What does the future hold for us? In all through urban history, urban areas has been constantly torn regardless of all the damage and different in wars and revolution. So rising down of cities has been a constant in history. The round city of Baghdad believed that the rounded shape of the city came from military reasons. Also, the circle is a symbol attached with the Islamic culture at that time. The reason behind the destruction of the city is the war, especially the war with the Mongols back in 1258. The city didn't last long after the Mongolians had conquered Baghdad. Many years after that war, the city had been demolished completely. The site of Palmyra, Syria. This site holds one of the greatest cities in the world, a city that combines the Greek, Roman, and Persian cultures because of its location. The art and architecture of Palmyra standing at the crossroads of several civilizations. Palmyra was the center of the art and culture for a whole decade. This site is almost over 2,000 years old. Throughout these years, some natural reasons have affected the site and the city. However, it was known as a historic place and a target for the tourists. After the civil war in Syria back in 2011, this site has been destroyed completely. Throughout the years, many civilizations and cultures left their mark in almost everything, especially architecturally. The Greek culture, the Roman culture, the Islamic culture, and the list continues. The historic places are considered as a legacy because they tell us a lot about the civilization from the past. Jumping to the 21st century, which is having a tremendous shift from the previous ones because of the discovery of oil and the invention of new technology. All these are factors that shape the 21st century to what it is now, which contributed to the evolution of the cities. From the invention of electricity, new technology, and heating, the sizes of houses also grow to adapt to this new change. With all these changes, the urban fabric is growing and it's expected to continue to grow in the near future. But not many think that this evolution is happening fast. Just look at Dubai. The city took a dramatic change in a matter of 13 years. It's considered one of the fastest growing cities around the world. With the discovery of oil, they managed to grow from a desert-filled place to an unrecognizable world-class city. What makes Dubai a great example is because it's showing how with the invention of machines and technology and the discovery of oil, cities can grow in just a matter of short years. But not only the cities grow, the population also grew as the city continued to flourish. It's also expected to continue to grow and double in the near future. The cities. With the growth of the city, the economy grows, which means the households are becoming more expensive to own, and the rents are rising, making the crime rate also rising. When you search for the city of Rio de Janeiro, you'll find a beautifully designed, well-thought-out plan of the city, but in the same area you'll find a neglected one. Even though they are so close to each other, they live in different conditions. The one living in an organized plant are called people of the asphalt, and the random plant are called the people of the hill. The people of the hill are living in a harsh reality in a community where drug gangs are controlling this part. It was built with no public authority, no plan, no code, and no facilities to help them. The city gave two types of people. The first type is the ones who saw this place and were influenced by the upbringing to fix it. So they became creative and tried to fix the environment and help their community the best they can. The second type is the ones who saw it as a dysfunctioning and destroyed place, so they became criminals due to the environment that they lived in. Thus meaning the architecture in a city is more important to humans than we thought, because it's the environment that we live in. If it was good, well thought out, creative, and not dull, it will help develop an imaginative and well-functioning society. And if it's the opposite, it will create more bad, unfunctioning society. Still, this era is attempting to manage these issues, utilizing and growing new innovations and technology to attempt at breaking point this disregard of the poor zones and the battle areas around the globe, and also improving urban communities through new development. The majority of it is still under progress, so we'll discuss them point by point. The King Abdullah City for Nuclear and Renewable Energy has declared the usage of a national project, one from measuring and mapping renewable vitality assets in the kingdom. Revenue will be done in collaboration with the US-based National Renewable Vitality Research Facility and the Batal Dedication Organization to assess the potential of sun-powered, wind, geothermal, and squander-inferred vitality. The reason for executing future renewable vitality venues principally for the generation of power and water desalination. The map book will likewise bolster different capacities. For example, research to create advanced custom-made to the one-of-a-kind atmosphere in different districts in the kingdom. We are sure that the vineyards will empower many gatherings from the private and government areas and college and research establishments to use renewable vitality assets in the kingdom for the generations of force and clean water and for different needs. Dubai's Museum of the Future to be partially 3D printed. See the future, make the future. This is the proverb of Dubai's recently devolved historical center without bounds. The metallic elliptical structure made arrangement for a corner part in Dubai's focal budgetary area beside the Emirates Tower on Sheikh Zayed Street is set to end up a hatchery for thoughts and genius outlines, a driver for development and a worldwide goal for designers and business visionaries. Through using the new technology, they will establish 3D images, mechanical autonomy, and 3D printing, will assume a vital part in the structure acknowledgement. Big and Hatherswick's Google headquarters to be built by robots. Google's proposed California-based camp will innovate a new digital technology to work with robots. The record details that they will develop the overhang-like structure inside with a group of automated crane half-and-halves known as carpots. They will set up a hackable framework for the working of the inside structure, says the records that they will take into consideration bundles, simple and responsible reconfigurations of space all throughout the building's life. Building cities on the planet. They are dynamic arrangement for extending human progress into space, and any number of genius plans for building whole urban areas on the Moon, Mars, and surrounding, by using the new technology and digital techniques. So as the years go by, there will be even newer technology in the future. This is just a small part of what the human race can do to fix these problems. But the future is something that cannot be predicted. If the cities were still facing problems and the digital revolution did not help, it can lead to a lot of consequences in our lives. Many scientists predict that with our life choices, the future does not seem so great. These consequences can have different scenarios in the future. The first scenario is due to global warming and the wars that are destroying our planet. Most of the architecture that's predicted to appear in the future is the metropolis one, where it's evident in so many movies and documentaries. Its major elements are the huge skyscrapers, streets that are so overcrowded with people that they will look like ants while walking next to these scrapers. Also, there are higher bridges for transportation in an effort to lower the traffic. And the higher your income, the better the living you will get, leaving the poor on the outline of the city. They usually are neglected, leaving them in slums. Due to that, the crime rate will rise, giving more gangs in the city. A second prediction says that we're also living in high-rise buildings, but in a more stacked way, giving the higher levels to the rich elite and the second for the middle class and the lower parts for the poor, if they were lucky. And the third prediction says, with how the world countries' relationship is becoming more sensitive every year, there will be another World War III, which will destroy many cities and cultures, and destroying the planet with all of the nuclear bombs, leaving the Earth uninhabitable, in destroyed areas due to the radiation, meaning that this future will be the post-apocalyptic one. But this future doesn't necessarily have to happen. If we continue to develop new ways to build without destroying the environment or causing destruction wherever we go, we can have a future good enough to live in. Because future generations will judge us on how we cared for the little things. And if we build that sense in them to take care of the cities, the future won't be the final destination to them.